Hello and welcome to our first live interactive panel session here from the Youth 20 Summit in Sydney, Australia. Pleasure to welcome our global audience back after this morning's opening ceremony. We've just, to give some context, had a session from Finance Deputy of the Australian Presidency, Barry Sturland, and B20 Sherpa, Robert Milliner, helping to give context not only to the G20 agenda for the year ahead, but also specifically to the topic of jobs and growth. And now we're going to open up to a fantastic panel of experts who can provide a really diverse array of insights onto this topic. We'll be taking questions not only live from the floor here, but from right around the world. We encourage any of you who are watching or wanting to contribute into the conversation from around the globe to hashtag Y20Jobs with any of your questions for this particular session. We'll be sure to get through the feed and come across up here. So this discussion is really our opportunity to focus on what is very much the priority theme for the G20 this year, and also one of the most salient agenda topics for the Y20. It's our chance for, obviously, those of us in the room who are part of developing our input, our clauses on these issues this year, to again get the insights of these panellists who are so immersed in these issues on a day-to-day basis and various viewpoints on them, to inform our discussion, our debate, and ultimately what we're going to produce. So it gives me great pleasure to moderate your session and also to introduce our panellists today. So we have, firstly, Nicolas Pinal from the OECD. We have Farah Farouk, who's a policy member from the Brotherhood of St Lawrence, which is an Australian-based non-for-profit organisation very much at the forefront of tackling the issue of youth unemployment domestically here. We have His Excellency, Mr Biren Nandan, who's the High Commissioner for India in Australia. And we have Farah Mohammed down the very end, who is created the Girls 20, which is an organisation. It's one of the unofficial G20 summits, and it's really aiming to take the conversation on female participation and the economic participation of women globally. And that will be meeting actually in Sydney in August. And finally, we have Malcolm Greening, who's the branch manager of the International Strategies branch at the Australian Department of Employment, and who plays very much a key role in the leadership of the Task Force on Employment within the G20 this year. So we have, as you can see, a phenomenal panel, a bunch of different domestic and international viewpoints that will come to the fore. And I guess we've talked already to panellists this morning about the state of the youth unemployment challenge in particular. We know that more than 75 million young people are unemployed right now, that this is continuing to rise and has certainly substantially risen since the global financial crisis. We talked this morning about the fact that it's leaders around the world, it's not young people, it's the United Nations, it's leaders at Davos saying, we're at risk of a lost generation. So I'd love your opening thoughts on the state of the problem from the point of view as you're seeing it, and some of the things that we need to be thinking about. Barry spoke about deep causes. What you think really the deep causes of the problem right now are. Nicolas.